שבגנך מול החום שבגני, הבונקר לשמאלך מול הפגז שבידי. הרימון שלך לא פרי והוא מוכן אצלך ביד, אצלי במחסנים הם מוכנים אחד אחד. קסדה מן הבונקר שמשמאל. רצית שנשמתי תהיה צבורה לעד, אבל אצלי במחסנית הם מוכנים אחד אחד.
השם מלך, השם ימלוך לעולם Yalla yalla ya lili oh yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili tanz 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 habibi shitahina ma zal shayzeh shitahina ma zal shayzeh shitahina ma zal shayzeh let's jump out in shitahina Hatan lo savardi kalle noe ashkenazi rachel meinu o savardi mameroche ashkenazi baba sali o savardi rabbi nachman ashkenazi shete hele mazal lo savardi met shabati ashkenazi yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili Gina, oh Savardi, oi di Shoma, Ashkenazi, Yossi Avi, oh Savardi, Yoi Mashmini, Ashkenazi, Moadim Nesimcha, oh Savardi, Agin Yotiv, Ashkenazi, Shete Hele Mazal, oh Savardi, Bet Shabbatir, Ashkenazi. Yalla, yalla, ya lili, yalla, yalla, ya lili, loile, yalla, yalla, ya lili, yalla, yalla.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Last night, many of us shared in a fun pandemic version of Mama Mia Megillah on Zoom, and it was great fun to wear outlandish costumes and wigs, sing silly songs, and act in a very improper way. It is a favorite time of many of us. So as the sun sets and as we say goodbye to Purim for another year, and welcome Shabbat, I think it's worth considering why this holiday is so important that the Midrash teaches when all the other festivals will be abolished in the Messianic times, Purim will remain. Rabbi Yitz Greenberg poses a different version of this question. He asks, why on Purim do Jews satirize their own traditions and not just those of evil ones? The answer is that the ultimate Jewish claims of faith are truly dissonant with the world as humans know it. Judaism affirms that this is a world in which life will overcome death, yet people die. Judaism affirms that the ultimate truth is justice and human dignity, yet we know that people perish from hunger and oppression and sickness and neglect. Judaism affirms that God has created a good world, and someday this will be manifest in every aspect of life. Yet in this interim world, there is cancer and persecution and slavery. By what right do Jews make their affirmations? The Jewish answer is that religious statements are expressions of faith. Faith is a vision of a truth that will come into being, backed by commitment that we will do our best to make it happen. Faith is trust in the divine promise that this is not a quioctic mission, but that the situation of redemption can be attained and realized in this world. And so humor is the most appropriate way to express this faith by simultaneously affirming and admitting the present limitations. True faith is neither oblivious to the facts that contradict, nor afraid to confirm or to affirm that the vision will finally triumph. Humor makes statements of faith credible without being insensitive to present states of suffering. Through humorous affirmation, Jews admit that they follow God, not because their hopes have been realized, but because they have trust in the divine. So let us continue to laugh at ourselves and the state of this crazy world, just as we double down on our commitment to build a better reality and share the light of possibility with others. We welcome Shabbat with this vision in mind, beginning our time together with song.
Ya
Join us on page 3 as we welcome Shabbat, kindling our Sabbath lights. It's my pleasure to invite Leslie Chasnoff to lead us in the readings.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Please join me in Kiddush on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Chaim.
We continue now with song on page 13, Shiru Adonai.
Shilai la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, basru miyom leyom yeshuato. Ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la. And we continue with Zamru Ladonai on page, 20? No, not 20. 16? 16.
16, for sure.
La
turn to page 20 so that we can join together singing Lecha Dodi. And as you all know, we sing verses 1 and 2, 5 and 9. But when we reach verse 9, we're going to rise together, whether we are able to do that physically or spiritually or both, and remind ourselves that the sacred space we dwell in is our Mikdash Ma'at, our personal sanctuary. Whether you're here like I am in this sanctuary or in that space that you have created now, week after week, to make it your special Shabbos space, it is holy. So join us as we celebrate that holiness together.
Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Shamar zachor bedibur echad hishmianu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nachat ki mekor haberacha merosh mikerem nesuchat sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ba'orech u'miori. Uri, uri, shir daveri, kevod Adonai alayich mila. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bana gam besimcha u'betzola. Tochem u'nei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yalalai 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 ne Shabbat nekabela.
Now's our time to turn on our cameras and unmute ourselves to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. We're so glad you're all here.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Glad
Good
to
seeing
see you.
everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
We turn now to page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish as we remain standing, if able, through the Shema.
Yitkadol v'yitkadash shemei Rab, amen. Ve'alma divrach retev yamech malchuteh. B'chayechon u'vyom echon u'v'chayerecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'vizman kariv v'yimeru, amen. Yehi shemei Rabba mevorach, le'olam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, ויתפאר ויתשומע ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתעלה שמי לקודשך בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
On page 30, we continue with Ma'ariv Aravim, praising God for the gift of creation. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishane etim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem v'rakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mitnei choshech v'choshech mitnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On page 32, we continue in the English together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel, by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Please join me on page 36 with Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha V'shinantam nevaynecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, v'valechtecha v'derech, v'shochbecha uv'kumecha, v'kshartam leot hayadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha v'visharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצא את ידכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Amen. Emet. On page 39, we read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
ונאמר כי פרענו את יעקב וגאולו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני כל ישראל.
On the bottom of page 43, we offer our prayers for internal peace. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth, prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We continue with the Amidah on page 46 as we rise if you are able.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi agil tehilatecha. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi agil tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VeHanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishnei Afar, Michamocha B'Gevurot, U'Nido Melech, Melech Mimit U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yalalucha Salah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. We continue at the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. On page 58. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for the lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hatov Shimcha Ulecha Na'eh Lehodot. Page 60, we join together in our prayer for peace. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forever. For you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamevarech et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom. Having prayed for peace in our world, we think of those who face the future not fully whole, those who are in need of healing of mind, of body, and of spirit. We think of those in our community as their names go on our screen. And we think of those people and those who are in our hearts each and every day. We join together singing El Na Rafan Allah, asking God to heal us.
ישלח להם מהרה רפואה, רפואה שלמה. הוא ישלח להם מהרה רפואה, רפואה שלמה. Please take a moment for your own silent prayers. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי אדוני צורי וגואלי May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי אדוני צורי וגואלי.
Earlier today, my handyman came over to install a light over the path that leads to our back alley, where the sanitation workers pick up our trash. Beforehand, we had a discussion about what kind of light I was looking for. Was it a dawn to dusk light or one that turns on when we walk by, that is a motion sensor? I wanted a motion sensor. As any homeowner knows, different kinds of lights serve different purposes. They may primarily be functional, but we use light not just to see. Light helps us create a mood. It can provide security, or in the case of this week's Torah portion, it can illuminate our connection and commitment to God and our Jewish faith. The opening verses of Parshat Tetzaveh instruct us on how we can create holy light. Ve'ata tetzaveh et bnei Yisrael v'yikachu elecha shemen zayit zach kativ la'ma'or laha'alot ner tamid. You shall further instruct the Israelites to bring you clear oil of beaten olives for lighting, for kindling lamps regularly. The key phrase being Ner Tamid, or eternal light, the very light hanging here above the ark and in the chapel as well. Have you ever come into the sanctuary when the lights were out and looked up at our Ner Tamid? It's special. The light is not a big one, but it's constant. You have to look at it for a little bit of time to see its brightness, but you know the minute you walk in, no matter what, it's here. The opening lines of Parshat Tetzaveh offer three simple statements about the Ner Tamid and its illuminating power, which far surpasses the actual light it creates. The first one says that the Israelites are to provide oil for the light, bring you clear oil of beaten olives for lighting, for kindling regularly. The second statement commands those who work in the temple to set up the light in the right place and keep it burning from evening to morning. And the third one says that this is an important rule established for all time in the house of Israel. At first, the light was kindled in the Mishkan, the sacred tent of meeting. Then later in the first temple built by King Solomon, it was rekindled in the second temple when our people returned from exile in Babylonia. Even when that temple was destroyed, the light continued to shine and is kindled, at least symbolically, in every Jewish congregation in the world today. And because we know the light was, at least originally, kindled with oil, we also know that it was not a roaring fire, but something more demure. Wherever we build our synagogues and temples, however grand or modest, an eternal light burns. It's always a little light, burning in darkness and light, shining whether we are there to notice it or not, but it is always there, highlighting the Holy Ark and the Torahs within it. Jewish tradition seems to favor little lights rather than big splashy displays, perhaps because they are so simple. Shabbat lights are small, so are Hanukkah lights, so is the light of the Havdalah candle. They're easily accessible and affordable, and while the Ner Tamid is in a relatively fixed location, the rest of our lights are totally portable. Our lights remind us of the power of simple gestures and seemingly small actions. They touch us in ways that big, glitzy things cannot. So the first lesson of Parshat Tetzaveh of the Ner Tamid is clear and simple. God is calling on all the Israelites in general, not Moses or Aaron or other priests, to provide the oil for the lamp. This reminds us that everyone's contributions to the community are important. No matter how great or small, everyone needs to participate. The second part of our verse is a command for the priests to set up the light and in the right place and lahalot, to raise it. On one hand, we can see this command as a reminder to share the metaphorical light of Judaism, the message we want to share. But I think we can extend that metaphor to something more concrete. The eternal light may be physically present in the sanctuary, but we can also think about God's eternal light burning inside of us. We should all see ourselves as leaders and emissaries of God's holy light, asking ourselves, how do we shine our light out into the world? How do we raise ourselves up to try and reach our potential? How can we show more compassion and concern for others? Do we take enough time to look for signs of isolation or loneliness in those around us? Do we understand that while we all crave more light, attention, and support, there are others around us who feel that they are in total darkness? The third part of our verse explains that the requirement to raise a constant flame is a rule that our people are to follow for all time. So even though the temple is no longer standing in Jerusalem, even though our eternal light is a bulb and not a flame fueled by clear oil of beaten olives, the requirement transcends time and place. Our eternal truths, like the eternal light, have lasting value for us, but we must remember to look up and beyond ourselves in order to appreciate its power and the part we play in bringing that light to life. There's a great story about a congregation that underwent a building project to renovate their sanctuary. Much thought and planning was put into its construction, and when the work was finally complete, a dedication ceremony was planned, and all the members of the community gathered in the beautiful space late on a sunny Saturday afternoon. People gathered with great joy and expectation, marveling at the beautiful windows, the exquisite woodwork, how the holy ark, newly refinished, shined, and the eternal light glowed. But as the afternoon gathering went on and the sun began to set, the room grew dimmer and dimmer until finally it was quite dark. It was only then that they realized that the new sanctuary had no lights other than the little flame of the Ner Tamid over the ark. The congregants began to murmur with confusion, even some distress, until the rabbi stepped forward and walked up onto the bima holding a lantern, which she then lit. I see that you've just noticed that our sanctuary has no light fixtures. I assure you that this was not an oversight of the architect or building committee. This was a very deliberate decision. This is a beautiful room, a wonderful space where we can gather as a community to worship God, to celebrate our faith, to care for each other. But it's just a room. And even if it is flooded with light, if you are not here, who would see it? Who would feel it? Who would share it? That is why we had hooks fastened all along the walls. It will be your job to bring a lantern with you each time you come to this holy space. Your presence will assure that we have enough physical light to do what we've come to do. But more importantly, your presence will assure that we have the light we really need, the light of your love and compassion, the light of your commitment to this community, and your connection to each other to fulfill our holy mission in serving God. If you don't come, we won't have the light we truly need. Now it is up to each of us and all of us together to illumine this space and make it a place where God's presence dwells. On this Shabbat Tetzaveh, though you are not here with me physically in the sanctuary, your light still shines bright. May it remind us to share our light with others so that we can create holy spaces, both physical and spiritual, that uplift and brighten all our lives and the world around us. Something to reflect upon on this Shabbat of eternal light. May we all experience a Shabbat full of life and light. Amen.
Amen. We continue now with the concluding portion of our worship. Aleinu can be found on page 283. And if you are able, I invite you to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגלור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. As we turn to page 289 for our memorial meditation, we note with sadness the death of Dorothy Miller, wife of Gerd Miller, mother of Ronald Miller and Janice and Patrick Claypool. We also note with sadness the death of Alan Brightman, mother of Myra Brightman and Ross Frapart, husband of Kathy Brightman, uncle of Lloyd Diaz, Sarah and James Botello, and Rachel and James Buslon, and a multitude of cousins, nieces, and nephews. Page 289, a meditation by Rabbi Chaim Stern. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life, something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yard sites, we remember them. Elizabeth Anderson, Liana Barenblatt, Joseph J. Barshop, Bertha Bayman, Sophie Bodenheimer, Helen E. Brisman, Marvin Brody, Thurman Brown, Omer Burris, Philip Cooper, Ida Croft, Robert Diamond, Philip Eisenstein, Jane Engel, Yetta Epner, Abe Epstein, Sidney A. Fetter, Jordan Alexander Feiner, Sarah Feldston, Kate Young Friedman, Miriam Victor Friedman, Irving Bernard Frost, Ethel Four, Sam Gates, Irma Garza, Maria Reina Garza, Bobby Gilraith, Herbert Given, Lilo Goldman, Dora Kleinsmith Goodman, Robert Greenberg, Sam Greenberg, Jack Guggenheim, Frederick Josephson, William Kotlikoff, Melvin Kowalski, Kenneth Ladinson, Daniel L. Lacer, Dorothy Rosenthal Latin, Fanny Barkin Lee, Marshall Lindner, Marion London, Sam Lewis, Flora Davila Mata, Leroy McKenna, Irving Middleman, Leslia Miller, Terry Miller, Sharon Barenblatt Myers, Hannah Pomerantz, Isidore Roos, Sarah Ann Roos, Jacob Rosenberg, Al Rubin, Dr. Robert J. Rubin, Lily Sandfield, Dr. Sidney Schiffer, Sarah Goldstein Schwartz, Ida Shapiro, Herman Svi Singer, Susan Scholar, Jane Smith, Sheldon Swedlove, Nola Tripp, Beula Wolf, and Richard Zimmerman. To these names, we add those who've died in the past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. Remember Michael Mickey J.C. Roth, Betty Lee Neinschweinder, Francis Vogel, Bernard Bernie Nathan Bornett, and Nancy J. Smallwood. We also think of those who've died this past week, whose families are in a mourning period of Shiva. Remember Seymour Palins, husband of Judy Pearlstone Palins, father of David and Karen Palins, father-in-law of Melanie Palins, brother of Herb and Linda, grandfather of Brian and Jessica, Leslie, Jacob, and Garrett, great-grandfather of Eliza and Caleb, uncle of Kevin Palins, Shelley and Larry Mrazek, Carly and Liv Palins, and Zach Palins, great-uncle of Olivia, Ryan, and Matthew Mrazek. Dr. Eleanor Bitsy Comet, mother of Lori and Mark Porter, David Comet, Leslie Comet and Adam Osborne, Missy and Eric Rindler, grandmother of Aaron Porter and fiance Cody Boyd, Shane, Sarah, Xander, Autumn, Evan, Tori, Ethan, Madeline, Peyton, Cowboy, and Ben, great-grandmother of Zane, sister of Michael and Louise Belden, sister-in-law of Stephen and Farrell Sherman, aunt of Lisa, Fred, and Tom, Marty and Joe, Brad and Susan, Allie and Danny, Jen and James, and Jonathan and Maria. Jenny Schoenbaum, wife of Stanley Schoenbaum, mother of David Schoenbaum, Alan and Wendy Davis Schoenbaum, Lisa and Ted Kerr, and Ben and Sherry Schoenbaum. Grandmother of Alexander and Lauren, James and Anna, William Kerr and Jenna Barron, Elizabeth and Andrew, Savannah Schoenbaum, Paloma and Callie, and great-grandmother of Samuel Avram, Elliot, Olivia, and Avery Schoenbaum. Jenny is also survived by many nieces and nephews, and her brother-in-law, Paul Schoenbaum. To all of these names, we add those which are in our hearts each and every day as we join together for Kaddish Yatom on page 294, and as we rise as one community. Yitz Kadal v'Yitz Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divrach Yerutei v'Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon v'Yomechon v'Chayei L'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'Vizman Kariv Imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Umei Almaya, Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudasha, b'richu. Le'ela min kol berachata v'shirata, tushvachata v'nechamata, da'amiran ve'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen.
So our president, Amy Benedict, is not here tonight, but nevertheless, I know she wishes you all a Shabbat Shalom. I don't have any specific announcements other than to remind you to check your weekly email. And if you don't receive that at 4 p.m. on Thursday, go back and look or check out the website. So much going on, courageous conversations, and many, many other activities. That's just what pops into my mind. But I know she would want to say that last night was hysterical and awesome. And thank you to all of our actors and participants who made Purim so special. Our closing song is Osei Shalom. Please join with us.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Have a great week.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good week. Good last night.
Cantor, I think you need to keep that wig. Maybe Rabbi Yergin too.
It's right over here. I can grab it. No problem.
נכנס אדר מי שנכנס אדר איי איי איי